For the month of November, I didn't list very much, but sales still went up for me. And that is because 'tis the season. The type of items that have been selling are heavier, bulkier, and they just have a higher average selling price. And that's what we're about to get into. We'll talk about the high and low price sales, the fast and slow moving items, and we'll end with a complete breakdown of all my reselling numbers along with the final profits. Starting off with the 7 high price sales of the month. This time I arranged them from low all the way up to the highest sale. So starting off with number 1, it was a Poshmark sale, and it was these Rock Revival Stephanie bootcut thick stitch Western blue jeans. They sold for a total of $48. With a shipping discount, that left me with earnings of $36.68, and these jeans sold in 50 days. So these did take a little bit to sell, but eventually someone took my offer on these. Rock Revival are an excellent jean brand to pick up. However, lately it seems like they've been sitting for a little bit longer than they used to and selling for a little bit less too. Like Miss Me jeans, these Rock Revival jeans do a lot better when they have extreme thick stitch, embroidery, studding, and just lots of pizzazz going on. So maybe I should focus on that. And also maybe I can list for a little bit less, because I listed these for $65 and they ended up selling for $48. Moving on to number 2, we have an eBay sale, and it was these Keen Utility Cap Toe men's work shoes. They sold for $58.99, and that is shipping included for the buyer. My earnings was $39.49. and these shoes sold in 1 day. So in the past with my eBay sales, I would go through and see exactly what they sold for and not include shipping or any of that. This month I just included everything that I was paid out by eBay, and then I'm telling you my earnings after shipping and the platform fees. That just makes it easier for me because that's what's on my spreadsheet, whereas before I'd have to go to eBay to find out the exact selling price. So that's the reasoning behind that, in case you're wondering. This brand never fails me. It always does really well in all styles too, in men's, women's, kids, sandals, flats, all of that. But these hiking work style shoes do the best. And luckily the thrift stores around here hardly ever price them up. I pay anywhere from $5 to $8, although I pay just a little bit more because the average selling price for these shoes leaves room for profit even when paying up for them. Number 3, also on eBay, we have some Justin lace-up Western mid-calf black leather kill-tie roper boots. These sold with shipping included $68.99. The earnings for me was $50.16, and these were listed for 52 days. These I did mark down my exact cost of goods instead of the average cost of goods like I usually do, and they cost me $15. And that's about what I'm willing to pay for Justin boots, anywhere from $15 to $25, as long as they are in good condition, that they are a good size, and hopefully they have a little bit of extra something unique going on. These here had that tassel fringe looking kill tie in the front, so I thought that made them unique. They also had that retro look going on, so that's why I like them, and I went ahead and picked them up. Then we have number 4, again on eBay. It was these Cody James Western brown leather cowboy boots with a harness. They sold for $74.19, and the earnings was $54.59, and these boots sold the same day that I listed them. As soon as I got a hold of these boots, I could feel right away that they were high quality. They just felt very heavy duty, and these boots weighed a lot. They were about 4 pounds. In my spreadsheet, I have that I paid $9.73 for shipping. I must have used pirate ship to ship them out. So that's 2 takeaways right there. Number 1, if you see Cody James boots, look into them because this buyer paid $74 with missing insoles too. And number 2, if you're shipping heavier items, try out pirate ship or Sendle to ship your items out, because sometimes, although not always, it can be cheaper than on eBay. Moving on to number 5, we have a Poshmark sale this time, and it was these Born Equestrian red all leather Western knee-high boots. I listed these for $89 and then I sent out a $72 offer with discount shipping. Someone accepted that. That left me with earnings of $55.88, and these were listed for 11 days. As soon as I saw these boots, I was instantly gravitated towards them. When I started looking around, I saw that they were all leather, the outside and the inside lining. Then I saw they were Born, so all of that were checks. But then I saw the price. They were $30. I do pay $30 for other Western boot brands, but not Born. I do sell lots of Born faux leather tall boots and ankle booties as well, but never Western boots. So I was really doubtful. I decided to put them back. I thought that was too much to pay. Eventually I made it around the whole thrift store, came back to them. They were still there. No one had bought them, maybe because of the price. And I just thought they were too gorgeous to leave behind. I thought to myself, if I don't make a huge profit on these, I know that I will at least make my money back. So it's worth a try. I decided to bring them home, got them listed, and I made more than my money back. So I'm really glad that I gave these a shot. And now I know in the future that Born Western boots can do well. The next high price sale were not boots, and they were on eBay. There were these Converse Looney Tunes lace up high top Chuck Taylor sneakers. These sold for $86.99 with shipping included, and they sold via promoted listing. So after all of that, my earnings was $57.31. For these, shipping was a bit high. I'm not sure, maybe the buyer lived far away from me, but they were only listed for 2 days, so that's great. Like the Born boots, I was going back and forth with these shoes because they were on sale for $15, and after doing comps, it just didn't look too promising. But I decided to go with it because they were a size 13 in men, so a larger size. And I also found another pair of beautiful Converse shoes, the same size but a different style. So I thought maybe someone will bundle them. They didn't end up selling that way. They sold separately, and we'll talk about the other ones later. But that just goes to show that comps is not the end all be all. I mean, doing comps is helpful in giving you a general idea of how much you can expect to sell things for. But I am certain that if I relied on comps all the time, I would be leaving behind lots of things that would go on to do well. If you're a beginner, it is best that you stick to doing as many comps as you possibly can. But after doing this for several years, I think that you can also start to rely a little bit on your past experience, and also just your intuition and your gut can guide your sourcing a lot. At least that has been the case for me. And the last and highest price of them all was on Poshmark, and it was these Lucchese, I think I said it right that time, cowboy western brown leather tall rodeo boots. They sold for $85. My earnings was $68, and they were only listed for 18 days. These I actually got at a garage sale for $18. After I bought them, the man was surprised that I did. He mentioned something about the size being random, and then I thought, shoot, I did not even check the size. I didn't even pay attention. When I got to my car, I checked the size and they were 14 narrow. So then and there, I thought they were going to sit for a while or not sell as much as my other Lucchese boots have sold in the past. But they ended up doing really well. The buyer was so grateful that I accepted their offer, and I'm glad I didn't check the size, because if I would have, I might have left them behind. Now let's move on to 7 items that sold for a very low price. And most of these in this category are just due to the fact that I was trying to clear out my closet of summer items, so I was letting them go for a lot lower than I usually would. But some of the brands that made it onto this list are just brands that I wouldn't pick up again no matter the season. And that is the case for this first sale. It was these Mossimo Premium Denim Blue Jean Shorts. They sold on Poshmark for $10, and my earnings was $7.05. and they took a total of 169 days to sell. These shorts I actually bought for me, but I didn't like the way they fit, so I just went ahead and listed them to get my money back. I did not expect much for them at all. This is a brand that I never pick up because it just doesn't do well. The second one on this list is also on Poshmark, and it was this diamond studded chain link Y2K love rhinestone gold stainless steel bracelet. It sold for $12. My earnings was $9.05, and it was listed for 69 days. So this was part of that wholesale jewelry lot that I bought. The average cost of goods for all of those items was $4. So my profit is not that much here, but it's something. Out of those 50 pieces that I got, I think I still have about 30 of them. And I'm really hoping that come the holiday seasons, these will start to move a little bit faster. Number 3 on Poshmark, again, we have some Liz Claiborne baggy tailored khaki high-waisted career trousers. They sold for $16. After a shipping discount, my final earnings were $10.12, and these took a total of 96 days to sell. I picked these pants up based on the trending styles on Poshmark and also some YouTube videos that I watched that talked about the trending styles of the season. I picked up a total of 5 similar pants, all different brands and different colors. Some of them are still sitting, and the ones that have sold performed similar to this one. So now I know that this style of pant is a no-go, especially in these lower end brands like Liz Claiborne, Talbots, and Loft. The next one, number 4, is on eBay, and it was this embroidered lagan look rustic forest green button front midi shift dress. It sold for $20.74, and that's shipping included. My final earnings was $9.37, and this sold the same day that I listed it. I like picking up these kind of dresses that are made in India that look rustic, embroidered, and are just oversized looking. In extra large and extra large sizes, they do really well on eBay. Even though the end profit isn't much, they tend to sell pretty quickly. Number 5 was on Poshmark, and it was these Crown Vintage Sarah tan suede strappy gladiator sandals. They sold for $15. My final earnings were $6.50. I must have included a shipping discount there. Days listed was 38. Crown Vintage is not a Bolo brand by any means. I do pretty well with them in the summer with their strappy sandals and their retro looking shoes. And in the fall and winter, I also pick up their western looking boots, their faux leather tall riding boots as well. But I try not to pay too much for them, anywhere from $4 to $5. They end up selling because of style, but because of the brand, they don't sell for too much. So I try not to pay too much for them, but they can do okay. Number 6, we have another Poshmark sale, and it was this Altered State floral embroidered mini denim fray hem skirt. It sold for $15. The earnings there was $12, and this was listed for 171 days. Altered State makes really cute bohemian style clothing, but for some reason it's really hard for me to move them. They sit for a long time and they end up selling for not that much. So nowadays I skip them no matter how cute the style looks. I always skip this brand. Then number 7 on Poshmark, I have some Isola Gladiator black leather strappy wedge sandals. These also sold for $15. Earnings also $12. And these sandals sold in 141 days. This is a brand I never had heard of, and I just picked them up based on style, but it didn't pan out so well. They sat all summer and they ended up selling for just $15. So I really don't see myself picking up this brand again. I'm going to skip it next time. Now let's talk about some items that sold pretty fast. The first one is the other pair of Converse that I was talking about earlier. They sold on eBay, and they were called the Lace Up High Top Red Laser Edge Tech Tough Sneakers. With shipping, the buyer paid $57.89, and they sold via promoted listing and with a coupon. So that left me with the final earnings of $37.99, and they sold after 1 day of being listed. I paid $15 for these as well, so I more than doubled my money there. And after selling these 2 pair of Converse, I'm going to be on the lookout for Converse high top sneakers in men's large sizes because they seem to do well and sell fast. Second on the list is a Poshmark sale, and it was these Jambu Brooklyn Sport Wedge Gladiator black leather strappy comfort sandals. They sold for $42 and they sold full price. Someone bought them outright. I love when that happens. My earnings was $33.60 and they sold after just 1 day as well. I almost did not list these. I thought about holding them off till next summer, but I thought, you know what, it's a little bit warm out, why not? So I'm glad I listed them because they sold really quick. This is an issue that I go back and forth with. Should I list out of season items or not? And right now, where I stand with that is that I will prioritize in season items when I'm shopping and when I'm listing. If I run out of stuff to list, then I will list all of those sandals. But as long as I have sweaters, jackets, boots, and those kind of in-season items, that's what I'm focusing on listing, and I'll keep moving all of the summer items to the end of the line. And if need be, I'll just save them till next summer. That way I have a chance of selling them at a higher price since they will be in season, and also I'll have a bunch of inventory to get a head start when spring and summer does come around. Next up is a Mercari sale, and it was this soft surroundings wool blend tunic top. It sold for $20. That left me with earnings of $17.12, and this was also listed for just 1 day. I actually had this top since last year. I was reorganizing all of my jackets and sweaters from last year to make room for the new inventory. And when I came across this one, I thought to myself, is this one even listed? I thought for sure it should have sold if it is, because I've sold this style of top in the past and it sold pretty quickly. And I went to go check all of my platforms. Sure enough, it was not listed. I'm not sure why. It was in my inventory, packed in a poly bag, labeled with the SKU number, but it was nowhere to be found anywhere on my platforms. I really need to set some time aside to do another inventory check. I did it once before, and when I did, I found many mistakes, many things that were unlisted, or some things that were listed on some platforms and not on others. So it is really helpful to once in a while go through all your inventory and just make sure that everything is up to date, everything is on all your platforms and spreadsheets and all of that. So hopefully I can get to that soon. But next up, we have another Mercari sale, and it was these LL Bean slip-on brown weatherproof low top duck boots. They sold for $30. My earnings was $25.83. And these sold the same day they were listed. I tend to do well with odd duck boots in men, women, and kids, and in all sorts of brands too. So as long as they are a good price and they are in great condition, I pick these up all the time. Another same day sale was also on Poshmark, and it was these Vans unisex lace up athletic canvas skate shoes. They sold for $27, which left me with earnings of $21.60, and these actually sold within an hour of listing them. These kind of shoes do really well for me. The only problem is that the thrift stores that I go to tend to price them up way too high. Brand new, these shoes are affordable to begin with, and so unless they're a rare colorway or a collaboration with Disney or something like that, they don't go for much online. So a lot of the times I have to leave them behind, but when I can find them for about $10 or so, I will pick them up. Next, we finally have a fast eBay sale, and it was this Lucky Brand Bohemian floral lightweight blouse. It sold for $28.95. It was so lightweight, so shipping wasn't much. So after the platform fee, that left me with earnings of $20.97, and this sold the same day that I listed it. In the past, I've done really terrible with Lucky Brand shirts and blouses but I think I got the hang of it now. Like Knox Rose, Lucky brand blouses do better when they're super bohemian or southwestern looking and in extra large sizes or above. Number 7 is a Mercari sale, and it was these Venus open back floral lace v-neck wide leg floral jumpsuit. It sold for $23. My earnings was $19.73, and this sold the same day as well. This was a beautiful jumpsuit, and the stock photos even more so. And a lot of Venus pieces are like this, but a lot of them are not. I come across some Venus pieces that are intricate and unique and just have beautiful stock photos, and others that are just the opposite. They are ugly, outdated, cheap looking, so I leave all of those behind. I'm not sure how they can go from one extreme to the other, but overall, Venus is a good brand. Depending on the pieces you pick up, they tend to sell pretty well and really fast too. Now let's talk about the slowest moving items, and we're starting off with one that was my slowest ever. It was on Poshmark, and it was this Romeo and Juliet couture charcoal fringe full zip sweater. It sold for $19, and the earnings was $15.20. The days listed was 622 days. This was very odd to me. I usually don't have items listed for over a year. If they don't sell within that time, I delist them and go ahead and redonate them. This one must have either slipped the cracks or I have the wrong listed date on my spreadsheet. Either way, this was a bad sale all around. Some Romeo and Juliet outerwear can do pretty well, but with this one, I missed the mark by a lot. The second one on the list, also on Poshmark, it was this vintage head sportswear windbreaker ski jacket. It sold for $20. The final earnings was $16, and it was listed for 292 days. I missed the mark with this one as well. When I saw it, I thought it was pretty cool. I liked the color. It looked retro. I listed it last November, and it ended up sitting all winter and sold until now after I relisted it. Number 3 is a Mercari sale, and it's another jacket. Most of the items that are in this slow moving category are going to be older fall and winterish items that have been sitting, and now that we're in that season again, they're starting to sell, which is good. I'm glad to see them go. It was this Zara woman double-breasted belted trench coat. It sold for $24. Earnings there was $20.60, and this was listed for 279 days. This one also sold shortly after I relisted it. If you haven't done so already, take all of your coats, sweaters, boots, any in-season items from last year and relist them. So make some updates, take the old listings down and list them as new. That is a great way to get old items moving. That's been the case for me this month with a lot of these. Next, we have a Poshmark sale. It was this New Haven Army green collared cargo military jacket. It sold for $23. Earnings was $18.40, and this was listed for 251 days. So another jacket and another relist, and that's actually a video that I've been thinking about filming for a very long time. Just a video tutorial to show how I use List Perfectly to relist my items on Poshmark and Mercari. So hopefully I can get to that soon. But as far as this brand, it's a terrible brand to pick up. The only reason I have this is because I got it in a Jomar box. The average cost of goods was $9.50, so that leaves me with a terrible profit. $9 in 251 days. That's not a good sale at all. Number 5 is an eBay sale, and it was these Fry Carson brown leather slip-on career heels. They sold for $36.04 with shipping. My earnings was $22.78, and these shoes sold in 250 days. Fry Western boots do excellent, but other kind of shoes sometimes can sit for a while. Number 6, another eBay sale. It was this Duluth button down 100% cotton collarless plaid flannel shirt. It sold for $21.94. My earnings was $13.13, and this top took a total of 234 days to sell. This brand is actually a Bolo brand, but more so in their convertible hiking type pants. But when it comes to tops, at least this one, it didn't perform so well. I'm sure if it was more like of a shacket button down shirt, it would have done better, and I wouldn't mind picking up a top like this for $2 to $3 and then making a $10 profit if it sold fast. But this one here, $10 in 234 days, that just is not a good sale for me. Number 7 is a Poshmark sale, and it was these Lucky Brand equestrian burgundy leather knee-high buckle riding boots. They sold for $32. My final earnings was $25.50, and they sold in 207 days. I listed these back in February, so we were exiting the cold weather. Recently, someone messaged me on Poshmark asking me about the sizing, because apparently in the drop down menu I had that they were an 8.5, and then in the description I had that they were a size 8. So I went ahead and updated that mistake and relisted the item altogether. Shortly after that, they ended up selling. Even though these boots did take a while to sell, I do still pick them up because during the fall and winter, they do tend to do good. I guess these, I just listed them too late in the season, and then also I had that mistake with the size. I think that's why they took a while to sell. Now let's get into the total sales numbers. The total sales for the month of September was $4,199. Total earnings was $3,136. My cost of goods for everything that sold this month was $938, and that left me with a final profit of $2,197. So finally an increase in sales, but I can tell you that I had nothing to do with it. Well, in a sense, yes, because I do put in the work daily on all platforms, but it is very minimal compared to what I was doing a few months ago, and we'll get into that shortly when we get into other stats. But breaking the sales down by platform, on Poshmark I made a total of $2,411. Poshmark really did show me a lot of love for the month of September, even though I wasn't listing as much. For a while, I had been using a tool called Flip to share my closet multiple times a day. But lately, I started making use of their tool for community sharing and community following as well. So I'm not sure if that had an impact on my sales, or maybe it was that combined with the fact that, like I said at the beginning of the video, it is the season, and most of my old sweaters and boots and many of the newly listed fall items as well have been selling very well. And by the way, that Flip tool is free to use, and it's linked down in my description if you want to check it out. eBay also treated me nice this month. I had an increase there as well. My total sales was $1,189. With eBay, I am happy to get to the $1,000 sales a month. So anytime I go over that, it's a total win for me. Mercari, on the other hand, has been slow playing in a major way. Sales have been really scarce over there the whole month of September. Total sales there was $599. I was making $1,000, a little bit over sometimes a month over there at one point. I'm not sure what is going on over there. Maybe because I haven't been listing as much, and like I always say, that platform seems to get hit the hardest whenever I'm not consistent or listing as much. But I mean, it is what it is. $600, I will take that over nothing. Now let's take a look at the inventory and see what work I put in or didn't put in for the month of September. I listed a total of 125 items. That is an average of 4 listings a day, and that is very bad. That's the least amount of items I listed in a whole month all year. But like I mentioned in my last income report, I really am trying to take it a bit slow. I had been having terrible pregnancy symptoms. They are a lot better now, thank God. But I'm still trying to take it slow and not put so much pressure on myself to hustle. I mean, I am very diligent every day in getting work done, but I'm also incorporating a lot more breaks, making time for family, for myself, and just home organizing and other things. Total items sold was 146. That is an average of about 4 to 5 sales a day. So even though I listed less, my number of sales increased by a little bit from last month. Average selling price stayed steady this month. It was $28.96. And as for the cost of goods, it did increase quite a bit to $6.47. And that cost of goods did go up a good chunk because this month I did some consigning. A family member brought me a whole bunch of stuff to resell for them. So I list those items, and from the final sale, I keep 40% and I give them 60%. That 60% is what goes in my spreadsheet under the cost of goods section. So that is why at the end of the month, my numbers look a little bit off and it looks like my cost of goods was higher than usual, which it may continue to go up as we move into winter and I'm paying more for heavy jackets and bulkier boots too. So that was my month in a nutshell. This month is going a little bit better. I'm listing a lot more and just being more consistent with that. I'm also sourcing a lot of great items, winter jackets, boots, wool sweaters, all that great stuff. So hopefully next month I can report back with even better sales. In the comments below, let me know, have sales picked up for you? How was your month of September? Let me know down in the comments. And that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.